Hey guys, Doug the Gamer Dad here, and today I wanted to do three things in today's video. I know that I had mentioned previously that I wanted to get into soldering, and so I have all of my equipment here, and I just wanted to go over piece by piece what exactly I got. There's one thing that I already owned. I bought a whole bunch of new stuff, and I want to go over all of what I have. I also want to go through a couple of motherboards. There's a total of three of them that I have with bad capacitors. I have more than that with bad capacitors, but there's three of them that I feel like are kind of project worthy of. I'm willing to work on them and not necessarily feel bad if it goes south. And so I want to look at those. I want to get a list of capacitors I need for them and the specifications so I can get them ordered. And then the third thing I want to do is try out one of my new tools that I bought that allows me to desolder components very quickly and easily. So if that sounds good to you, I appreciate you being here, and we'll start going over the tools that I bought. So the first thing that I got, this is something I already owned. This is the Hako-FX 650. This is the soldering iron that I already owned. I didn't realize that one of the two soldering irons that I had was already a good brand. And so that's the one that I'm going to keep and that I'm going to use, unless if somebody in the comments knows that this is a bad soldering iron for some reason, feel free to chime in and let me know. If you're an expert on this and something sticks out as being bad, just let me know. I'm very new to this. This is my first real deep dive trying to learn how to solder. So my apologies if this isn't good. Please let me know. But it is a FX 650. It doesn't have any like temperature controls. It just, you plug it in and it heats up. I know that there's probably better tools out there, but this is what I have right now. Let me know what you think. The second thing, this is one thing that I bought locally, and actually the only thing I bought locally that I have that's new is this digital caliper. This is going to let me measure the physical specifications of the capacitors that I need to buy, the diameter, the pitch between the two leads, and all that kind of good stuff. I bought this just at Walmart, and it wasn't too terribly expensive. It is digital, which I liked. You can get just, ones that are analog, but I felt like digital was better. I don't mind buying batteries for that. The most expensive thing that I bought, this just came in today. This is the Hako FR301 desoldering tool. So this basically, the tip of this has a circular end on it, and you place it over the lead of something that's a through-hole mount, and it evenly heats all around that lead, and then has suction to suck away the solder once it gets hot. It's great. This is one of the things that I always had problems with, was trying to desolder existing components for replacement. And some of that probably had to do with the fact that I had low quality flux or wick, whatever it is. I didn't really know anything. I didn't really do any research before when I was getting stuff. So now I took some time. I tried to get good stuff, but you guys let me know in the comments as I go. But this, I hope, and this is the tool that I want to try out today to try removing some capacitors from one of the motherboards. And I have two Amazon packages that I haven't opened yet, so I have a premium heat resistant silicone soldering mat. This is good for up to 932 degrees Fahrenheit. I wish they said what that was in Celsius, but yeah, I figured I didn't want to like melt my table, so I figured that was pretty important. We have rosin core solder. This is 0.6 millimeters, so it's kind of thin. For the price, it didn't matter which thickness of solder I got. I could get 0.6, I could get 0.8, I could get 1 millimeter. And I felt, and I could be totally off about this, but I felt like having thinner solder would allow me to have more control, so I can feed it at a more reasonable rate of what I want and be able to stop when I want, as far as feeding the solder into the lead. So the brand is Mayum. This just had good reviews, so I went with that on Amazon. And then this multi-pack here from I think it might be the same brand, but this came with a few desoldering wicks and do this out here, and then 3 tubes of flux paste, and it came with some cleaning tools, looks like, to yeah, I know nothing about this stuff, so this was stuff that got recommended. This is a tip tinner. So this is something that had gotten recommended to me. It's just basically a little, you dip the tip of your soldering iron or your desoldering tool into this, and it tins the tip of your tool first before you start working. That is... You can also just tin the tip of your tool with the solder itself, but I figured that having it sit there where I can just do that and then immediately start work on what I'm doing would be a little smoother. And then we have another package here from Amazon. This is the stand, because I didn't have something to hold my soldering iron. So this is a stand that also has this thing to clean it, and it came with this little sponge. That needs assembly. And then, yeah, I think this is the last part of it, is the safety thing, which is one of these little fume extractors. There's the power cord for it. And it comes with a carbon filter here. And yeah, this, you could get it in black or yellow, and it was the same price, so I figured yellow would just be easier for me to see, I guess. I don't know. But it's literally just a fan with this carbon filter on it that sucks air into it while you're soldering, and it comes with a spare of the filter. So that's all of the equipment that I bought. I'm going to actually open the mat and get that set up on my table here, and then I'll be right back and we can talk about getting a list of capacitors for the motherboards that I want to work on. Yeah, so here is my heat-resistant mat. The corners are going to need to get pushed down and like held down in place so that it settles. I'm going to put something heavy on these corners. These Scott Mueller Bibles will probably do fine. There we go. Okay, so the first order of business here is going to be opening up my new calipers. I'll open these safely here. Well, it'd be nice if I could get into this package without risking anything. There we go. new 6-inch digital caliper from Hyper Tough. Zero setting at any position. Nice. Okay. Auto off function when the LCD displays 0, the battery will be cut off in 5 minutes. Okay. Move the slider to check if the LCD and all the buttons work properly. Touch gently. Cool. Okay. Well, looks like there's a tab here to activate the battery. So let's remove that. Cool. And then wow. Okay, cool. Let's keep that off for right this second. And I want to look at our 3 motherboards. You've seen 2 of these motherboards already, if you've been watching my videos. So first one is the one from our HP that had the component plague, the capacitor plague. And there's exactly 10 capacitors on this board that have just exploded. You can see on this side of the CPU socket right here, they're just all bad. So I want to measure a couple of things. I had started trying to desolder a couple of these, and I was having no luck, and that's when I decided to just try to get some better tools. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to measure the okay, so it's got, is that 5? So it's 3.5 millimeters in between for the spacing on all of these capacitors that need to be replaced. It's 3.5. I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna keep notes for myself on paper. Sometimes I'm old school like this. I just like to have the ability to look at it again later. So this is for my HP Imperial. I'm gonna write this. HP Imperial GLVE. So the pitch is 3.5 millimeter. The actual capacitors themselves let me open this up just a little bit more and get this to be actually around it. They appear to be 8 millimeter. Yeah. So there's 8. What matters more here is the pitch. I could get smaller diameter capacitors if they have the same pitch. And all of these are 1500 microfarad and 6.3 volt. 1500 and 6.3 volt. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are exactly 10, which is great because the websites where you order capacitors for replacement, they tend to sell them at a lower price if you purchase 10 or more. So quantity 10 pieces. Beautiful. We're going to come back to this board later. This is actually what I'm going to try out one of my tools on before we end the video today. So I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to grab our next one. This is another one that you will have seen if you have been here watching my videos at all. This is the motherboard that came out of the small form factor that I did look at already in my first dive into that lot of like 9 computers that I bought for a total of $40. This was one of those motherboards, and there's just 2 capacitors that are failing, but there might be others that are the same kind. My rule for myself, and everybody's at liberty to give me input about this in the comments, please do, is when I'm inspecting a board, if I find, for instance, there's 2 of them right here that are leaking electrolyte, that are by the bottom edge of those RAM slots. There's 2 of them here. If I find that there are other capacitors on the board that are the same values, then I'm likely to want to replace those as well. Reason being that all of the capacitors on the board are going to be the same age. And if some of them have failed that are a certain value, it's more likely the others of the same value will fail because they would have probably come from the same batch. At least that's my opinion. Again, if I'm totally off, if you guys are experts that know more than me, please let me know. But there's 2 here that are specifically bad. And I'm just looking at the specs here. I think that we have more that are the same. Yes, so these are 6.3 volt and 1800 microfarad. So let me get the measurements on these. They are these ones, I think. Yes. Right here. And it looks like the same as the others, so it's probably 3.5, but I'm going to just use my tool that I bought and get a good measurement. Yep, it's 3.5. So before I get ahead of myself, I'm going to write down the model of this board. This is the board that I nicknamed Joe. The reason I nicknamed it Joe is because the end of the model number is JOE. It's a DQ. It's from Intel. I'm going to skip a few lines here and give myself room to make more notes on the first board if I need to. DQ35JOE. If I look it up online, a lot of times they omit the E at the end. But I like the fact that E is there on the little label that's on the board because it says Joe. So this board is Joe to me. And there's these 2 capacitors that are bad, and there's 4 others that are right here. They're right next to the ATX power connector. So I'm likely to want to replace that too. So these are they were pitch 3.5 millimeter. I think they're the same diameter. They look the same diameter as the other ones that I worked on. But yeah, let's measure. Yep, it's exactly 8 millimeters. So these are the same physical size. And I need 6 of them to do the full board. But I would probably order more than that. I'd probably step my order up to 10. It might actually cost me less. Because, they usually give you a good quantity discount by buying 10 of them. So I'm going to just mark down what I need. These were 1800 microfarad, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah. 1800 microfarad and 6.3 volt. And I need 6 pieces. Okay. And then the last board that we're going to look at here, is one that I haven't shown yet on the channel. This is new. But this would be probably the third one that I would work on. Because I'd really like to get it running. It would be great. So this is the board that I want to look at next. This is an Epox brand, which is defunct. They don't make motherboards anymore. It is the 8K7A. So this is a socket A motherboard. This is for the original AMD Athlon processors. It has a VIA chipset, and it has just 2 DDR memory slots. And this board is just a nice board with a universal AGP. So this would be a good candidate to run certain video cards from that time frame. But we have a lot of capacitors here that are already bulging. There's these 2 are bulging. This one is bulging. These 2. This one here. All 3 of these. All 5 of these. Really, like, there's 2 sizes of capacitor on this board that are bad. And most of the capacitors of that size on the board are bad. So, I'm going to just take a quick inventory here of what we have as far as capacitors, and then I can make a list for myself. So, it looks like there's one here that specifically leaked. And that one is, if I can see the values on it, that would be great. It appears to be 2200 microfarads and 10 volts. So let me make myself another, I'm going to skip another few lines here. Epox 8K7A. So this board has, the shorter capacitors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 12 of the short ones. I'm going to visually look at them and make sure that they're all the same, but I'm 99% certain. The smaller ones are 1500 microfarads, 6.3 volts. Happens to be the same as that HP, actually. First type. 1500 microfarad, 6.3 volts. If they're the same pitch, that would be amazing. I could purchase exactly what I need for the 2 boards, plus a few just to be on the safe side. I'm going to look here, 1500, 1500. Yeah. Yes, all 12 of those are exactly the same. Let's get some measurements. So these look bigger. These are 10 millimeter diameter. Now again, I could go with smaller, but there's not much room to go with larger on this. So this is here. It looks like these have a larger pitch. I think these are 5 millimeter pitch. Let me verify this. Yeah. These are 5 millimeter pitch. So they're not identical to the HP. 12 pieces I need for the epochs. And then the second kind are these taller ones. The one that failed dramatically over here. And then there's one more here that's bulging. The rest of those capacitors of that kind are not bulging. But if two of them are going and one of those two has exploded, I'm going to go ahead and replace all of them. So if they're all the same, which I'm verifying right now, 2200 microfarads and 10 volts. I'm looking. 2210, yes. And I did look at these already, they were. Okay, so they are all 2200 microfarads. $10 volts. And these taller capacitors, they are also 10 millimeters in diameter. I am assuming they probably are also 5 millimeter pitch, but I'm just going to double check this because it takes very little time to do. Indeed, 5 millimeters. Okay. The only thing left to do now is to count them. Starting from here, I'll just make my way around because they're all right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I need 14 pieces. Okay. Cool. So, I've made a list for these 3 boards. For the HP, I only need 10 capacitors. They're all identical to each other. For the Intel Joe board, I need 2, but I'm going to buy 6. And for the epochs board, there's 2 types that I need to buy. 12 of one, 14 of the other. That's a large project. That's where my desoldering tool is going to come in to save the day, really, to be able to desolder that many capacitors more easily. So I'm going to get this out of the box, and then I want to give it a try removing these exploded capacitors off of this HP board. So give me a sec, I'll get this out of the box. We'll give it a try. Okay, I've got my desoldering gun hooked up and heating up right now. I'm waiting for that to reach operating temperature. And while I'm waiting on that, I'm just taking a moment and familiarizing myself with where these components are located that I want to desolder. There's several. Yeah, I think that we're up to temp now, so I'm gonna just move this out of the way. I don't want to knock my soda over, but I have my tip tenor here. I'm gonna use to just give myself a little bit of, and I think what they're telling me is I just amazing. I think I need to tin that again. still being a little stubborn. I'll try out the next one. Making sure that we're getting the entire pad heated here. I might need to bump my temperature up here a bit. I think we're dealing with lead free, and it's got a higher melting temp. Maybe I just wasn't giving it enough time to melt the joint there. It's a learning curve for me. Maybe I'm just not doing the suction long enough, because that one worked really well. Yeah, that capacitor just fell right out of the board. Okay. So I need to be doing the suction for longer. That one fell. Oh my gosh. I'm actually removing caps. This is great. Come on. This one's like almost there. Come on. Something else holding that thing in. Should have been gone by now. Oh well. I think I'm getting good enough heat transfer. Let me re-tin. Let me get my tweezers, because some of these capacitors are so loose, but then they don't want to actually come out. Okay, so this one is like basically there. It just needs a little. Come on. Why is that one sticking so much? There it finally goes. Jeez. Okay. That's 3 down. No ripped pads. This is amazing. Incredible. I'm going to continue with the board just upside down, see if gravity works with me. You know, if it doesn't, it doesn't. Too. So some of these, it's literally just the leads are bent to the point where it doesn't want to fall. But it does just come out. All right. 10. Not getting good heat transfer. I need a 10 more. Oh, this is good. I'm getting good motion now. Man, I'm really glad that I got this tip tinning can. I feel like that one should be coming out too. Let's see how loose it feels. Not that loose, surprisingly. I was just being stubborn. But what's incredible to me is there's, 10 capacitors on this board that need to be replaced. And they've already desoldered 4 of them. That's more capacitors than I've desoldered in my life to this point. I had some good motion going on this cap now. Bet you anything, I could just pull it out now. No? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. This one lead does not want to budge. Just on the one side. Did that do it? This is insane. Come on. My goodness. Maybe I should try my wick on there. Can't hurt, right? Alright, let's see how this works. I'll just do a little bit right on this. There's no way that doesn't just come out now. Okay. That is insane how hard that was. But it's out. Okay. 3 more here, and then we've got 2 by the ATX 12 volt. This one feels like it's just going to fall right out of the board, too. I'm going to turn, pivot, and just pull it. Come on. There it goes. Yeah, so when it came to the manufacturing on this board, they really bent the leads on these capacitors when they installed them. also feels like it should just be ready. There it goes. There's only one more here. These two leads. All right. Amazing. Awesome. 8 bad capacitors removed. There's only 2 left. I'm going to go ahead and knock those out. I believe they're those 2. Yeah. Right here. There's the 2 sets of leads. That just fell right out of the board. I love that. I'm going to pivot. See if I can get this to come out too by pulling. Well, folks, I just removed all the bad capacitors off this board. 10 of them. Amazing. I am so pleased with this. I'm going to... I think the next thing you're supposed to do is clean up the pads with flux. So I guess I'll try doing that, because why not? I'm here. I might as well. But that's going to involve me swapping over back to my regular soldering iron. So one sec. Okay, so I swapped back over to, well, not back over. This is my first time trying this on this video. just my regular soldering iron, I am going to apply some flux here. And actually, before I even do this, I should have my tool, my filter running. So let me get that set up too. Okay, I got that all set up. Hopefully that's not too loud for the camera. But we're going to apply some flux. These are just on the ones that I'm cleaning up, really. There we go. And so we're just gonna clean these. It's still got something in this hole here. These are cleaning up pretty nicely over here. Just this one here that just is like refusing. I mean, worst case scenario, if I can't reinstall all the caps and this just turns into a practice piece, you know, I'm not heartbroken by that. It'd be cool if I could get this back up and running. It's another one that's just not. Not cleaning up that nice. There's a couple of them here. I don't know. Go back to this one here. Oh man, we're really stuck on this one. Tin here. There we go. I think that actually cleaned up too. Yeah. But, some of this does look like stuff where I will need to clean up from topside, which, I mean, we can always flip the board and take a look. Yeah. I don't know. It's my first time. Okay, I put a little more flux just on the two pads where I still see solder on them. Try from top side and oh. Okay. Get a little fresh wick here. Give this a best case scenario, right? Come on. It's like right in the center of that. It's just, it's really annoying. I melted a little plastic on our CPU socket. Okay. Well, I wonder if I could use the solder sucker on some of these through holes where there's just a tiny amount of solder in the hole. I probably could do that. I don't know. It just seems like this isn't working that well. And this is with my... Oh, I might have just gotten that. Hold on. I think I might have. Come back here and hit this one more time. Yeah, there's still a little. Well, in any case, I'm gonna take a quick pause. Yeah, we're gonna give that a try on a couple of these through holes where oh, that's so much better. Yeah, this is clearing it up. This is taking no time. Yeah, these through holes are all completely clear now. Yeah, this thing is great. So I guess the last step you're supposed to do here is to clean with alcohol, and try and like really get a lot of the flux off of the board. So I'm gonna try and do that. Yeah. Make my garbage can available to me so I can be throwing these out as I'm doing it. And I have heard that you can take a toothbrush to really get it. So I'm going to try that too. And just lightly. I'll try and get it as much as I can. And I'm not pressing really hard. I'm just, my finger is here just to keep a little pressure. I don't know if that did anything. I'm going to try and get you guys some close-up shots of what the bare area here looks like. And see what you think. Did I do a good job? Did I ruin the board? And you guys can let me know. Getting paper towel stuck in here. I don't think that matters too much. And again, if I ruined it, then I ruined it. It's, you know, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. At the end of the day, this board didn't cost me very much money, but it would be really cool for this to be one where I was able to fix it. So, kind of try and get this close up to the camera if I can. I don't know if this is going to show up very well for all of you at home, but these are the pads that I removed the capacitors from. Let me know what you think. And I'm going to get capacitors ordered that I had made my list of earlier. I'm going to go online after I'm done uploading this video, and I'm going to get that order placed. We have more videos coming in the next couple of days, so I am going to be continuing on while we're waiting on capacitors to arrive for my 3 motherboards that I want to work on. I'm going to be finishing up going through those systems that I bought, the lot of 9 PCs. The next video is actually going to be 3 of them. I'm going to do all of the Dell Dimension desktops together because they're very similar appearance-wise from the outside. So That'll be cool, and that should be going up here in the next couple of days. Thank you guys so much if you've made it this far. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next one.